Welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Ben Slinger, and with me, as always, is Trevor Scott.
Hello.
Hello, Trevor. And on this
I am tired.
fine evening where we are recording a little later than usual, and we are going to play some Click Pitch. We're going to see how it goes. It's either going to be our worst episode or our best based on how tired we are.
Yes.
But,
are we going to put our new favourite thing in place, or we can't be fucked this week?
Yeah, in previous weeks, if this is your first episode, we occasionally limit ourselves to a genre, just to give ourselves a bit of extra challenge. But I think this week we'll just do some classic Click Pitch. So, Trevor, do you want to tell the listening audience about what Click Pitch is?
We each have a random word generator, 3, 2, 1 click. We click refresh, get word, throw it at each other, come up with game design, throw it away, do another one. Done.
That's the slightly truncated version. Yes. All right. Let's do it.
3, 2, 1 click.
Yeah. Basil.
Flourish.
Ooh, Basil Flourish. Oh, okay. Some sort of cooking game. I mean, Basil's...
Yeah, I don't know. I'm seeing Basil as like a character, even. Like,
it can be both. So what I started thinking of when I thought of a cooking game and herbs. Do you know that video of the guy doing the like smoked whatever it is, like smoked steak or something, and he drops the salt on? Like, there's that meme with him, like he lifts the salt up over his shoulder and like drops it down.
no, I haven't seen that.
You don't know what I'm talking about? Okay, everyone listening does. It's only you. Anyway, the flourish. It's like, obviously it's a flourish, and so I'm thinking of like some sort of performative cooking game.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's like a reality TV, like a chef, like an Iron Chef kind of thing. And the host is Basil.
Yep.
Now, I'm not entirely sure of the gameplay, although as I was saying that, my mind did go in a co-op direction.
Of course it did.
I'm kind of picturing like a scene where it's sort of you're seeing the camera's point of view of your little like cooking station, and you have to control the arms of your character to go through the motions that are required for cooking whatever dish has been assigned to you. And so you're kind of having to like reach over here, and I don't know whether it's I guess a controller. I guess like one thumbstick controls each arm or something.
Yeah, I'm thinking that kind of like having different characters from different sort of cooking shows and that sort of stuff. Like,
yeah,
you've got, maybe a Gordon Ramsay sort of character. You've got, a Matt Preston or something from the Jamie Oliver, and then you've got that four-armed guy from Futurama with the Spice Weasel.
Bam. That's a hard level. You can switch between his arms. You can like have
that's co-op.
Oh, oh my god, yes, co-op. Oh fuck, that would be really good. Actually, I like the idea of there being co-op in two. Like, you can have co-op with two characters in there, but in that way you get in the way of each other. Or you can have co-op with you've got a four-armed character. There's that guy. There's Goro from Mortal Kombat. Yep.
There's like Shiva from Mortal Kombat.
There's like Doc Octopus.
Kintaro from...
That's for 3 players. Yeah. And I think it's just like, you've got your ingredients, you've got your tools sort of around you in different places on different shelves, and you've got a recipe that you have to follow. And you have to like grab the pan down, put it onto the stove, grab this ingredient, put it in there, crack an egg or whatever, put it in the mixer. But of course, with the way you're controlling it, you're going to get some hilarious stuff, and you can have things
I reckon you could even have, that octopus game.
Octodad.
You can even have like that as like a downloadable character.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's ton. Yeah,
I'm picturing that sort of control scheme that it's like
pretty much.
Horrible.
I think maybe like
Surgeon Simulator.
I think it's just the hands you're controlling. So like the body. Like, if you sort of are reaching for something and you're not holding onto something else that can't be moved, like the body you'll get pulled in that direction, right? And so you'd have to tweak the controls a bit, but I'm sure there's a way you can do it where it's sort of, your body moves based on what you're reaching for. And And then, and then you do get points for flourishes and things. You know, that's the other. Or, I mean, you're naturally going to have things that kind of look like flourishes anyway with that sort of control scheme. But yeah, and then I like the idea of doing it as like as a reality cooking show, whether it's competitive or whatever. I guess competitive. With your host Basil Coriander, the host of I don't know what would be
Twitch's latest cooking show.
Oh yeah, totally. Twitch streaming.
They get to choose the recipe. They get to vote on, who had the best flourish.
That's it. You could do some cool Twitch integration stuff there with, particularly if you had multiplayer. And they get to like vote on who did it best and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. I like that. Yeah. Cool. All right. 3, 2, 1, click. Appendage.
Boa.
Boa? Spelled how?
Yes. BOA. As in boa constrictor.
Ah, okay. Or like a feather boa.
Okay. So, kind of in the vein of the last game, I'm picturing that this is a character who wakes up one day and finds that his arm has been replaced by a boa constrictor.
Okay. Yep. Is it first person? I got a first person image there because you've kind of got that that first person gun view, but you've just got a fucking snake there.
A snake that is like controlled by the AI sort of thing. So you can...
or even VR actually could be interesting there. Because then all you're doing with the VR controller is kind of moving the base of the snake around, and then based on what it's in proximity to, the AI can kind of take over in different ways.
Yep, and I'm picturing kind of like Bionic Commando. You can have like swinging sort of mechanics and that sort of stuff, kind of like your Windlands or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You whip out the boa like a whip and swing.
I mean, yeah. Look, and we don't have to go VR. We could just go kind of. It could just be the premise of a platformer, sort of whether it's 2D or 3D. Because now you're actually giving me Earthworm Jim kind of vibes with the sort of whipping out and hanging on.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I'm just picturing, this is like a genetically enhanced boa constrictor though, so it digests things really, really quickly.
Oh, you could have like Yoshi mechanics, where not only does the snake be your kind of way to get around, traversal, but it's also obviously your attack, and if it swallows things, then it might turn them into other things.
Pop out an egg.
Yeah, like pop whatever, or a skeleton. I don't know. Or just to consume things for like a resource for something, for something else, for some other mechanic.
Yep.
Okay. How else can we do interesting stuff with that? Is this, I mean, narratively, what's happened here?
I'm kind of thinking it's almost like a human centipede sort of situation where you're in a car accident.
You've got like a mad surgeon.
A mad surgeon has stitched a boa constrictor to your arm, but he's also like put some sort of mind implant so that you and the snake can converse.
Okay. Yeah. So you telepathically talk to the snake.
Yeah.
It's a character in itself.
It's a character in itself, and I'm picturing that it's like a hyper-intelligent snake, voiced by Justin Roiland.
Okay, well, if it's Justin Roiland, it'll probably have to be VR, just because that's like his jam.
It'd have to what?
It'll have to be VR. That's his jam. If we want buy-in, if we want fucking Squanch Tendo to develop this for us. But that's cool. We can stick with the VR.
Yeah, but I'm kind of picturing it like a almost a Moss point of view, or a Lucky Tales or whatever.
Okay.
That.
Yeah, I mean, and even
so it's a platformer that.
I mean, and even Trevor is a bit like that. For those who haven't played it, we've both been playing Trevor Saves the Universe, which is a very funny VR game. Well, it's not just VR, but we've been playing in VR. That's sort of a platformer / first person-y.
Because we're yuppies that own very expensive hardware.
Yeah, it was a birthday present. So,
and you're playing on my PC.
Yeah, well,
that I mainly own. You own the graphics card for it.
I like that the snake as a character. You can have some really funny stuff there, particularly as you're making it do things. Like I'm picturing, it's in the middle of talking to you, and you like whip it out to you whip it out. You like whip it towards something, and it's like muffled. And it's like, you fucking bastard! Like, I was in the middle of something, and you just go and make me, swing on a goddamn branch.
I kind of like. I know that there's another game that's been called this before, but I kind of like the idea of it being called like Whiplash or something like that. Just because the idea of the snake, getting whiplashed through the through the fact that you're launching it out.
Yeah, the snake's just like, should my neck be breaking? This mad surgeon must have like reinforced my bone structure as well.
You go through like an airplane or airport level, and you go through the through like the X-ray machine, and it shows that it's all titanium plates and all this sort of stuff in his bones.
I'm fucking Wolverine.
Fucking Weapon X. Weapon S.
Weapon S.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that. That's
3, 2, 1, click. Fungicide.
Casserole. It's all sort of cooking stuff. Well, I guess the last one wasn't cooking, but anyway. Fungicide casserole. So something about a mushroom, a deadly mushroom in a casserole? Oh, wait, fungicide. That's for killing mushrooms.
It's for killing mushrooms.
Okay. We do have a world that is rich in lore of anthropomorphic, like foodstuffs that we could go to for some sort of royal. It's a fungicide. King mushroom. King toadstool. Oh wait, that's like a Mario thing.
King Koopa.
Well, we could go Mario with it as well. Someone bakes Toad, who's now king for some reason.
Okay.
Well, I guess just like Princess Toadstool.
It's like a mirror universe sort of Mario game where Bowser has decided that he's sick of the Mushroom Kingdom, so he's developed a fungicide to kill off the majority of the fungicide. He's decided that kidnapping Princess Peach has never worked, so she's going to kill off all her like constituents.
Yeah, and, so anyone who has any fungal DNA is affected by this thing, and they just like rot. It's like a really dark Mario game.
Yeah, and your whole thing is that you're trying to save the last like mushroom.
Is it you still playing Mario and or Luigi?
I kind of like the idea that you're actually playing Toad.
Okay,
like you being the last mushroom.
Oh wait, I thought you were trying to save them though. Or is it too late? It's done.
Well, I think it's too late. It's done. You're now Toad, and so for some reason you have Toad has like this like innate ability to actually stop himself from being killed by this fungicide, but he's still susceptible to it. But he can actually
he can sense it maybe in some way. So he can stay away from it.
Yeah, I like the idea that it's
basically
unlike a Captain Toad. This is like treasure tracker. This is actually a dark Mario.
This is like a post-apocalyptic Mario game. The Mushroom Kingdom with no mushrooms left.
And I think it's actually Toad and Toadette are the other two that are remaining.
Sure. Yeah, maybe you've got a choice on who to play, and maybe the other character is maybe it's one of these like sidekick or co-op kind of situations.
Yep. I kind of like the idea of it being like a Mario 64 style of game.
Okay, so the fairly classic like 3D platform Mario.
Yep. Fairly classic 3D platformer, but fucking dark.
Yeah, for sure. So
to the point that unlike Mario, where you're just going to try and beat Bowser and not actually kill him, you're literally going for murder this time.
Right. So what's Bowser done after? Is he back in the fucking Koopa Kingdom or whatever? Just like he's just a dictator there, reveling in his destruction of his mortal enemy.
Yep. We go back to the whole thing,
or is he haunted by what he's done?
Well, I think you do have like you're not necessarily the last mushroom. You're the last of like the typical mushroom people of the toads and that sort of stuff. But the Goombas are still around. But this time, instead of the Goombas being bad things, like you're almost amassing an army of them.
Okay.
And you're going up against
what the fuck are Goombas really?
They're like mushrooms, but they've been turned to the dark side.
Okay, but they have seen what's happened to their fungal brethren, and have rebelled against
against all things turtles,
right? Which is yes, of course, yes,
yeah. So I think the soup that they're going, or the casserole that they're going for, is like turtle soup sort of thing.
Right, I forgot we had casserole. Yeah, okay. That's fine. They want to make a turtle casserole out of Bowser. I think we've got enough. Enough interesting game narrative here that we can just take that as casserole. Okay.
So I think there's going to have to be a little bit of stealth in this, just a little bit, because obviously they've each Koopa has sort of been given fungicide that they can very quickly wipe out Toad.
Well, I mean, you said a little bit of stealth, but I kind of like the idea of a fairly heavily stealthy Mario game. And as a pair of toadstools, I kind of like some of the things that you could do, like hanging, like you can hang by like, you've got that big wide brimmed head that you can like use to hang from things that are close together, like rock yourself back and forth to move along it.
Oh God. I'm just imagining, Toad sneaking up behind a turtle and just snapping its neck and just ripping it out of the shell.
We're going dark and post-apocalyptic, man. We've got to have that Toad, that fucking turtle gore. But even things like, because it's a co-op, like or at least a two-character thing, being able to bounce on each other's heads to reach higher spots and help each other, just make distractions or something. Let out some spores.
I'm just imagining some of the like extra stealth mechanics, like letting out the spores, like puts a dust cloud down, sort of thing, that kind of can choke the air.
Or even getting different types of spores that, like, maybe you can have it that you can send out spores that will grow little baby mushrooms on certain surfaces or something, and then it could be for a distraction or for light or for, like, they've got different kind of attributes.
Yeah.
That.
So I'm wondering whether things like the one-up mushroom and the growing mushroom and the poison mushroom from Mario
Lost
Levels. Mm-hmm. Whether they're now in such short supply that you can actually, when you get to certain points in the game, you can actually unlock, like, there's this one remaining big mushroom left, and the whole idea is that you've got to transport across this level just to just be able to keep the keep the DNA viable, so that you can actually
so that you can
recreate these,
keep breeding them. So that's a really good idea.
I like the idea that that like Princess Peach and Mario and Luigi are kind of indifferent to this whole thing. Like,
right?
They're like, oh, it's just mushrooms. We've killed heaps of these mushrooms before, like in Goombas.
Well, I mean,
and
particularly
that sort of
the Goombas. Yeah, maybe they feel that the toadstools in allying with the Goombas have betrayed them.
Yeah,
because they're so short-sighted to their privilege as non-fungal beings.
So maybe that's the whole reason as to why Toad and Toadette have sort of allied themselves with the Goombas, because Koopa gets really pissed off, creates a fungicide that kills off the majority of the Goombas. And so then Toad and Toadette, go out basically saying, these are distant ancestors of ours. We're not happy about this whole thing happening, and they're out for turtle blood now. Yeah, for sure. God, I love how dark it could actually go. Like, how gory you could make the turtle deaths and all this sort of stuff.
Now, Princess Peach,
yes,
is also often known as Princess Toadstool. Does she have Toadstool DNA? Is she affected by this?
I have a feeling that you find out that she doesn't have Toadstool DNA, but she's actually human, and she just, like, she got transported to this world many years ago, and people just
they just called her. Yeah,
they put her as royalty because she was so different to everything else, and she. But
yeah,
now
she's the typical white
against.
savior trope, you know. For sure. So
I kind of like the idea that like the second to last boss is Mario. So it's Toad up against Mario sort of thing. That Mario is against all this, you know, killing of all the turtles, and there's like this real nasty scene between. Now picturing Toadette and Mario. Maybe Mario is also after the last, I don't know, like the last one-up mushroom. Because he's got an appetite for Goombas now.
No, well, this is the thing. He fucking, and it's actually really goddamn creepy because he eats mushrooms as well as helps mushrooms as well as kills mushrooms or toads, like toadstools. So
I'm just picturing like you enter this lair and you hear like this Jabba like oh you turn around and it's like this grotesquely deformed Mario who's just
he's just eaten all of the gross
all these one-up mushrooms and all these like you know the growth mushrooms with
I have 99 lives. You'll never kill me.
Just imagining like this big grotesque fucking Mario. It's just like how awesome that would be to have like a big, you know, battle against Mario.
Well, and then because it's a, you know, we're kind of making this into a stealth game. It's all about just like Mario can't move. If he sees you, he can like throw fireballs at you and stuff.
Yep.
I love the idea of him,
you know,
like,
if he catches
switching.
you, he just
I love
eats
the idea
you.
of him switching between these suits. And he can't fit in them anymore. So they're just like, his belly's coming out of him.
Mario.
Oh my God. Yes.
And I'm just picturing like, kind of like how Java has, you know, Slave Leia, but it's Slave Luigi. There's like Luigi in this skimpy little green outfit.
I was going to say that like, Luigi, I think, would be on the side. Like, he seems much more woke than Mario. He'd be
he
an
seems
ally.
better than Mario. But
yeah,
I like the idea of he gets captured early on, but he's like chained to Mario.
Yeah,
and he's like, you know, still as skinny as what he always is.
Yeah. He hasn't. I mean, he hasn't been gorging on your brothers and sisters. That is really fucking messed up when you think about it.
Maybe the whole time, like, Toad hasn't realized that Mario's been, like, addicted to all these mushrooms.
Yeah. Are these, like, you know, the larval stages of toads? And like, the bricks.
Oh, God.
So the toads fucking, like, put out, like, they grow these little larval stages. They put them in bricks for safekeeping and incubation. And Mario's just, like, going around fucking punching these bricks and eating their babies. And then they're always like,
I'm now imagining
Mario.
that Toadette's pregnant, and the final scene is she lays an egg that looks like a brick, like.
It's got a question mark on it. We don't know yet if it's going to be a one-up or a growth mushroom.
Oh no!
That's why there's a question mark on it.
That just makes it so fucking dark.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I love it.
All right,
I love it a lot.
3, 2, 1, click.
God, that went to a dark place.
Ooh, I know. Yeah, well, here you go. Clowning.
Radial
clowning.
So not rodeo, but radial.
More
coughs for me to cut out.
Are you a math clown? Hey, kids. Have you ever seen a protractor? Check out what I can do with angles. I'm a mathematician.
Oh, God. No. No.
I don't know. I feel like that could make a good, like, point-and-click adventure protagonist. Or at least a character that your protagonist comes up against.
Well, radial is, like, moving along a radius or relating to the radius bone, relating to the radius vein. So I'm kind of like the idea of maybe it's
someone going to clown college to be a surgeon. Just like fucking pulling out strings of flags and like giving medicine via flour on their lapel.
Oh God.
I kind of like the idea of having to figure out this world of medicine that's just based around clowns and slapstick and magic tricks.
It's kind of like the TV show Scrubs if they were clowns.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It could be like an episodic kind of thing where you do have, a certain set of patients where all their stories, link together to teach your protagonist a lesson. But the actual gameplay
all the time, like the clown has had a wrist injury and it's really hard to perform repetitive tasks.
Yeah, like he can't like squeeze the bulb on his big oversized horn. You have to like amputate one of his giant feet. Oh my god! Can you imagine like if inside the classic giant clown shoe, you just like pull that shoe off and it just keeps coming, and there's actually like a giant foot in there.
And it's like you put your hand in the shoe and it's like the Mary Poppins bag sort of thing that it's like, oh my god, this thing goes forever.
So, I mean, from a gameplay point of view, you could have it kind of being a bit of a puzzle solving situation where you kind of have to look at the symptoms and based on what you've learned throughout the game so far, that, like, I kind of like the idea that all these clowns, the things you associate with the clowns, yeah, they are actually part of the body in this situation. So, like, you come in with someone and their red nose has lost its color or something in it. And yeah, they're giant. They've got gangrene in the end of their giant foot. I don't know. The makeup is permanent. It's actually part of their faces. And so, like, any sort of discoloration there is a symptom.
Oh, God. It's just reminding me of, like, horror films sort of thing.
Yeah, but you could keep it light. You don't have to go the creepy clown trope. And then, you do get to operate on these clowns and perform magic tricks.
You cut an artery and confetti comes out.
Yeah, exactly. It's like 30 cc's of seltzer right now, nurse.
Oh, God.
Give me that tin of snakes. I mean, peanuts. Right.
1 click.
Bulldozer.
Blackhead.
Oh no, I immediately had like a vision of like tiny beings on someone's face, like having to do road work.
I had
and
the
stuff.
same vision.
Oh god, this episode's disgusting, but I love it. So all right. Let's think about how the gameplay of this could work. Because I'm thinking, yeah, you're like digging out blackheads, popping zits, cutting hair, cutting, either yanking out or cutting hair, depending on
shaving. Yep.
Depending on what you want. Like applying like lotion and stuff. Because I'm trying to think if this is
I think it's a real-time strategy.
Oh my god. It could be. Okay, so these are actually just all aspects of how you're kind of building up your base. That's how you clear the space or like resources.
Yeah. And, it's basically you move into a new spot on the face sort of thing or on the back in certain places. Yep. And you can have different maps and the sort of things that you're going up against is like dirt and grime and like germs and bacteria and...
Well, yeah, I think you're some sort of virus army and you're fighting off, and I mean, I know viruses don't necessarily like sit on the surface of whatever, like you're some sort of disease and maybe you're fighting off like the immune system. But for whatever reason, you're fighting on the surface of the body. And so I like the idea that like a field of blackheads is like your resource. It's like you send off your peons to pull up these blackheads and get the goodness that's inside, which power your fucking war machines.
And you can go, spelunking in the cave that's left behind and...
Yeah, or you can do something with the hole that's left behind.
Or you can let skin grow over the grow over the blackhead to try and get a pimple to form, and then that's like
that's
different
like the
type
next
of resource
level.
of
Yeah, if you pick at something too much, it can form a scab, and that's useful to you as well.
I like the idea of when you want to like pinch something that you need 2 bulldozers either side to sort of like put down their things and squeeze, and it sort of squeezes.
Yeah,
up
well, you've got all your
have to
different.
get on a different angle and all that sort of stuff.
You've got all your different units. So yeah, where you form a pimple is important because you need to make sure you've got the access from both sides to be able to squeeze it and get that valuable pus, which again
Pus as a resource
powers your units. And I think outside of that, it's a fairly, I mean, your units are all kind of different sort of virus-based machines in a way. They can kind of be organic in nature, but have mechanical aspects to them, I think.
Yeah.
And past that, I think it's a fairly straightforward RTS in a lot of ways.
So maybe what actually, so like your peons, to actually create blackheads, you have to actually, like
spread oil.
They have to go into like, you have to like plant the blackheads sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're trying to plant them at the right time to harvest them into like the pus.
Yeah, well, you need maybe like a certain amount of surface oil on the skin.
It's so wrong. Sometimes you got to clear out the hair first, and open the pore up with some warm water, or at least some sort of heat.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, because I assume you're on the Wikipedia page for this as well, seeing that it's a clogged hair follicle. So yeah, maybe you do have to build like these like heat related things to open up the pores, and that's where you can like plant and harvest your blackheads. And again, you need like your oil glands to be pumping out enough oil. That's just a resource for part of planting it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I like this a lot.
That's disgusting. But I love it. That's all I've got for that. Fucking 3, 2, 1 click.
Yeah, same here. 3, 2, 1 click.
Archer.
This kind of goes well with what we had in the last one.
Okay.
Tightening.
Like
you want to tighten up the skin. But no, tightening and archer.
So, I mean, tightening an archer works well from a bow point of view. Just the string.
David Bowie.
But don't make references to a D&D game that no one else is going to get. But
that was a Michael special.
I was thinking Archer, the TV show, could be a good source of narrative inspiration for a video game. I don't think there's been an Archer video game.
No, but then again, I've sort of been off the Archer bandwagon for a little while.
I mean, I haven't watched it for a while, but
since like season 4 or 5.
That doesn't mean we can't make it into a video game.
Smoke bomb. No, I kind of like the idea of it being a traditional archer.
Okay,
so it's a bow mechanic game.
Yep,
but you've got to keep on top of like your bowstring, because it you need to keep it tight at all times.
And you got to do your bow Kegels.
Oh my God. Oh, that's so wrong. And I so want to call this episode Bow Kegels.
All right, I do like bow and arrow mechanics. How could we bring in the tightness of the bowstring though without it just being an annoying kind of like wear and tear sort of mechanic?
Maybe in this particular game, how far you actually launch an arrow is based on how tight it is.
Okay.
So if you're going for distance, then you're going to want it like really, really tight to get that sort of power. But if you don't want it to go that far, then you got to sort of loosen it off and slack it.
All right. Maybe this is still it's a bow and arrow game, but it's a cross between archery and golf. Because I'm just picturing, hear me out. I'm just picturing, because I think having to like alter the tightness of your bowstring as you're going through a level, having to kill people. Like, I feel like that would get kind of tedious. But if you're working on a trade-off of like having to get an arrow through a course or something like golf, where the tightness of the bowstring does affect the distance, but it also sort of affects the accuracy or other aspects, the speed of it or something, like you're trading off then. So then it's sort of like using different golf clubs, right? Like there's a reason why you use an iron versus a wood versus a putter versus a whatever. So in this case, it's like, oh, well, there's in this situation, you're best using, a firm bow with a tight string. And in this other situation, you want to loosen it up because, you're going to get higher accuracy that way, even though it's not going to go as far. I don't know.
Okay, so
the physics hold up on that.
I know 100% that I want this to be VR because bow mechanics in VR is just awesome.
Sure, yeah, it's kind of what it's
having
made for.
VR bow golf is just like amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, does the are the arrows? Do they have like a golf ball on the end, or do they actually have like an arrow point?
I think they do have a ball on the end, and when they hit the ground, the arrow bit breaks off, so the ball can roll. And then when you go to it again, you like stick a new shaft in it, so like for your next shot. But you have to obviously fire it from. From the position. I kind of
like the idea of like a caddy saying to you, "I think you need the 32-inch bow this time."
Exactly.
Adjust the tightness and pull it back, and launch it off.
Yeah,
I really like that idea, and the fact that the bow can actually be the bow/ball can be affected by wind and all that sort of stuff. So,
you've got all the same sorts of issues. You can even use different shafts that are fletched in different ways. I'm
just imagining some of the courses that you could actually.
Well, that's it. Now you've got a lot of
medieval courses and all that sort of stuff.
You've got a lot of leeway there with different like heights of things, and I feel like there's some good potential there.
I'm kind of thinking almost if you remember the Switch game Golf Story, how it was sort of like an RPG thing as well, like. Having different missions that you can do archery wise, but your main part of the game is also that you're golfing throughout the land, sort of thing.
Sure. Yeah. Well, and then you can have certain levels which are to do with like questing or something, but the mechanics are the same. You're still just trying to like. So do you have to? Let's figure out how putting works here, because do you have to literally like fire? Are you trying to get it in a hole? Since you've still got a ball.
Yeah, I think you're still aiming for a hole.
Mm-hmm.
But whether that hole is like in a tree or.
Yeah, it doesn't, that's the thing. It doesn't have to be on the ground.
Or you're aiming for like a some sort of target, like an actual, traditional looking target, but it's like on the ground, but it's got like the hole in the center that you're aiming for the bullseye.
Yeah. But you can still, win by getting it. If it just lands in any of the outer sections, you get less points or something, or more points.
But the thing is, anywhere it lands in the target, that's the end. It's sort of like the green is, you don't get to do a putt from there. It's basically you're aiming for the center of the target, and if you get in the hole in the center, then that's great. But if it lands anywhere else, that's sort of like your stroke count sort of thing that you get. +1, +2, +3 or whatever.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
To your stroke count.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
That's cool.
I really want to play this game. Like, VR and bow I love, but then the idea of incorporating golf mechanics into that and, traveling along, sending your golf ball while also taking out, I'm thinking some enemies on the way, like
okay, so you put in some traditional, just like you're going along in your fucking golf buggy to chase your ball, and you've got attackers that you have to take out before you get there.
Yeah, so you want to make sure that you've actually got like a proper arrow rather than your one with the ball on the end, because the one with the ball on the end,
they just bounce off their heads. You could still take someone out.
Stroke limits.
Well, oh yeah, right. That counts towards your stroke limit. Well, maybe there's like a sub thing of how many traditional arrows you fire as well to take them all out, because you also want to do that with the least amount of arrows as possible.
Yep.
So either they count towards your final stroke limit, or it's like a separate score. Yeah.
Why hasn't anyone ever thought of like archery and golf together?
Oh, they have. I googled it. It is already a thing.
It is,
but it's really just like hit a series of targets along the course. It's not a ball on the end of an arrow shaft, so we're safe.
They suck. You need a ball.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Okay,
click.
so hang on. What I'm picturing is you fire it off, and so the ball goes flying with the shaft, sort of coming behind it. Mm-hmm. But then mid-air, kind of like a rocket, the shaft breaks off.
It like detonates off. Yeah, or disintegrates or something.
Or you can push a button to basically say, this is when I want
that could be interesting.
Want the shaft to sort of break off.
Yep.
Because maybe it gives it maybe a little bit of extra oomph.
Yeah, because obviously the shaft is creating drag, but it's also adding accuracy. Yep. So and making it maybe less susceptible to the wind or something, because it's like spinning and it's accurate through the air. So depending on when you break that off, it might go a bit further, but it's not going to be as accurate or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool.
I love that. I love that a lot. Cool. 3, 2, 1, click.
Ooh, not just potent, but omnipotent.
Omnipotent.
I know.
Starboard.
Oh, okay. So,
I don't know why, but for some reason I'm seeing like the Kraken or like Neptune or Poseidon or something along those lines.
My mind is going in a lot of different ways there. I had the idea, obviously, omnipotent makes you think some sort of godlike being.
Yep.
And then starboard makes me think ship, so I'm like, is God a pirate? That was my first thought. Is God a pirate?
Yep. But now I'm wondering whether we just sort of take it in a slightly different way than you'd expect starboard to go.
Mm-hmm. And
it's basically, it's actual space.
Yeah, well, that was the other way, because I also thought, okay, starboard, it could be a spaceship. Okay.
And then it's the unknown, like, it turns out that, like, I don't know, Poseidon or whatever, turns out that all those gods were actually real, but they were like visitors from space. Well, I'm thinking that people never identified like the god of space travel, and so this god has basically been basically been sitting there going, okay, I've got no followers whatsoever. I've always existed alongside my brethren of god
of the ocean, god of the sun, god of fucking.
Yep.
Yeah.
And God of Space. And God of Space was never identified. And I'm thinking it's like a simple name like Keith.
Is it just because by the time like humans found space travel, they'd shed the kind of, what do you call it, like multi gods belief?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it turns out that it was actually true, and Poseidon was always sort of looking after the people in the ocean, and
right. Okay. Of course. All right. So
Zeus was always doing his shit, and like the extra god that no one sort of, that everyone ignored was Keith, the space god.
I think all right. Oh yes, and you with Keith.
You can change the name.
No, it's
if you
fine.
Want.
Keith the space god. So
I just wanted like a typical name.
Yeah, I know.
Could have gone with
it's
Ben,
that's the typical name, like the cliche. But that's fine. So Keith the space god. So he like watches over space travelers.
Yeah, and he's had nothing to do until this century. Now, this century, like
the 20th century.
The 20th century, like in his whole life, I'm picturing that like you can show that he's pretty much been doing nothing.
He was having a nap during Apollo 13.
Well, the Challenger.
Or whatever. Yeah, like
during Challenger,
taking
when the explosion happened, and Apollo 11, he was on the ball there, but then Apollo 13, he got a phone call from Neptune or something like that.
Yeah, it's just
he
like,
just keeps getting pranked.
Motherfucker! Nothing's going on down here. These fucking humans, they've figured out ships. The Titanic was decades ago.
Yeah, I'm imagining that Poseidon's getting back at Keith for the fact that he held a massive party the night of the Titanic going out, and that's why Poseidon accidentally sunk.
Are we
the
going
Titanic.
with Greek or Roman gods? Because you keep switching between Neptune and Poseidon, and they're the same thing.
Different names.
Yeah, they're different names for the same god.
I thought I only said Neptune at the start. I thought I've gone Poseidon every other time.
Yeah, whichever. Poseidon. Okay, so what's the game here? Do you play Keith looking over like the vastness of space and getting prayers from aliens who actually believe in him?
I kind of think
you're trying to convince humans.
I think this is one of those things that space travel is going to happen, and you've got to sort of keep all the dangers away, sort of thing, almost like a reverse flight plan. If you remember,
yeah.
Remember that old game
where you have to like lead the planes onto the runways, but this is like you have to guide the other pulsar blasts away from spaceships.
Yeah. So I'm seeing that there's like asteroids coming in, and you got to sort of like be able to move the asteroids off onto a different trajectory by
right.
Putting in like gravity fields and that sort of stuff.
Is that we've got this rich lore being generated, and we're making a fairly straightforward arcadey kind of game. Maybe that's a mini game.
Yep.
But
mini game's
I
fun.
think the main game, because like we're talking, Keith is this like Greek god, of the Greek pantheon.
Yep.
Those dudes are known for like fucking animals or whatever, right? Like they come down to Earth, they fuck an animal, it births a human, I don't know, whatever. Like then there's their incarnation.
Demigods.
Yeah, creates a demigod I think maybe you play a character on Earth who is either an incarnation of Keith or a demigod child of Keith, and you are trying to convince people to believe in you.
Okay, so I'm imagining that Zeus came down in like the 1950s and, fucked a goose or something like that, and then
yep,
gave birth to Keith.
Gave birth to Donald Trump.
And Keith, like on his 19th birthday.
Wait, so are you saying that Keith is only a demigod then, or because I thought?
Yeah, he's only a demigod, but he's also in charge of space travel. Like,
okay,
turns out that so I'm imagining that because space travel didn't sort of happen until like the 1960s.
I think maybe Zeus fucked a quasar, or like maybe just an asteroid or something, and then shot that asteroid down to the planet, landed, out comes Keith. And he's been subtly like, hanging around mission control. He lives in Houston.
Oh god.
I do like the idea that he's a modern demigod, because that would explain his name for one.
Yeah.
If he's born in the 50s, he definitely could be called Keith.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea that they weren't expecting space travel to actually happen until like the 1970s, and it sort of it happened a lot earlier than what they were expecting.
Well, they
so
just didn't even think of it. They just didn't even think of it. All these gods that came into being from the belief of people, a couple thousand years ago, and then all of a sudden it's the 50s, and they're like, these fucking humans have invented a whole new thing that we have no control over. We need someone taking care of this shit. Zeus, go fuck an asteroid.
Go fuck an alien, and it gets sent down in like Roswell, New Mexico in 1947.
Oh yeah, they're like, fuck, no, that didn't really work. All right. Fucking inert rock that's floating around space. Fuck a comet. Fuck a comet. There you go. Fuck a comet.
He gets sent down to Earth, kind of like Kal-El, and Zeus is going, I suppose that'll do.
And in fact, Superman was inspired by one of the earlier experiments where they tried to create someone called Clark. No, just a bit early.
Yeah. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Click for the one more.
I'm not sure we got much gameplay on that one, but I think our rich background will inspire many a game spin-off.
Many a fan art.
Yeah, I hope so. That'd be nice.
Fucking robots and asteroids and gooses.
Gooses, yeah.
Geese.
3, 2, 1, click. Primate.
Meteorology.
I just made that game.
Okay, I'll click again. You keep primate.
I'll keep primate.
Locust.
Ooh.
I kind of like the new buddy comedy game of a primate and a locust.
A primate and a locust. Is this in like an anthropomorphic animal kind of world?
Yeah,
like
kind of like a Banjo and Kazooie, but this is a...
Oh, I see. Primate and locust.
Yep.
What sort of primate are we talking here? Tail primate?
Yeah, I'm liking the idea of tail.
Okay.
I'm definitely liking tail.
Monkey or lemur.
But I'm definitely also liking, a sort of plague insect that should have gone dormant, but happened to stay awake for some reason.
Okay, so
just a story that sort of happens at the start. All
its buddies have like, I don't know, what do locusts do? Die and then fucking lay eggs and die probably?
I don't know. I thought locusts like went dormant over like winter and that sort of stuff, so they sort of bury themselves and. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. But okay, let's assume that is the case, and this is like the opposite of the ant and the grasshopper, where the grasshopper didn't do anything all summer or whatever, and then it was going to go dormant in winter and didn't have any food. Or it's the same as that. It's like, fuck, I don't have any food. I can't go to sleep. All right, hook up with this lemur, and we're gonna travel the world together as best buds. Yeah. So what's their relationship like? How did they meet? I'm just picturing like. Do lemurs eat insects? They might. I don't know. I don't know that much about lemurs. No, fruit. They eat fruit and stuff. Okay, so they're good friends because they both eat fruit. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Okay, so I'm picturing almost like a where are lemurs sort of based? Good question. Rainforests, maybe? Maybe. I'm looking it up. Madagascar, of course. Of course, Madagascar. They're literally native only to Madagascar. I'm now picturing that it's like this huge open world in which going back to our classic 3D platformer that the lemur's trying to help this locust. Okay. Get to the other side of the island. Yep. Where all its friends have sort of sure. Gone to go into. So we've got a bit of a Jack and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank kind of deal. Yeah. Yeah. So you're playing the lemur, but occasionally the locust gets to like do a mini game. Help out. Kind of like your Jack and Daxter, kind of like your Banjo Kazooie or Banjo and Tooie or whatever game you want to sort of Banjo Kablooie. Okay, so locust name, I'm picturing something simple like Lockie. Lockie the locust. Sure. What about lemur? What? Brad. Brad lemur. I don't know why I find that so funny. Brad lemur and Lockie the locust are on a Madagascar adventure. Madagascar 4. There's no more zoo animals. Because we couldn't afford Ben Stiller or the other 3. Or David Schwimmer or Chris Rock or can't remember who plays Gloria's name. I don't remember. Okay, so gameplay, I'm picturing that like the lemur can like swing through trees and has like parkour sort of mechanics. And fruit is like their power ups. Yep. What can the locust do? Fuck all.
No, it can fly.
Okay.
It can fly, obviously. So maybe you can like send it to grab things.
Take control and like get high fruit that is kind of high and sort of knock it down.
It's also small, so it can like crawl into smaller gaps. So again, you might have sort of mini game sections where you have to crawl through a little tunnels to like hit a switch or whatever.
Yep.
They're also gross.
So is this in a world in which like humans have died out?
Oh, okay, yeah. Now, are you talking humans have died out recently, or humans are like an ancient species that are talked about in hushed tones?
Ancient species, I think.
Okay. So there's sort of remnants of technology.
Yeah, kind of like Madagascar was, fully settled and there's still what's called there, but it's all like any sort of remains of skeleton sort of thing.
Yeah, for sure. This is like what long after climate change has wiped out the human beings and the Earth's CO2 levels have gone back to normal, and now we're in equilibrium
and
again.
Life continues on.
Yeah, without those fucking humans
who fuck everything up. Okay, so I'm picturing lots of parkour, lots of like cave spelunking.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm picturing not so much an open world, but more like structured levels, almost like Far Cry.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know how it made it feel like it was open level, but it was like there are certain things that you're going to do over this island, to get to the place, that you need to.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing that counts as open world in ways. It's just more that you sort of unlock different areas as you go, right?
Yeah,
you sort of guided through the open world in a sense.
Yeah, there are certain things that you need to do in moving forward, but you're never really going back on yourself, sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, sure.
So it's definitely levels that are happening forward, but also like it's the feel of I can do it this way, I can go this way, I can
a little bit Tomb Raider, modern Tomb Raider too does a bit of that. You kind of circle back on yourself a bit, but mostly you're just going through levels. Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
I guess we'll leave it there.
So.
Yeah, I like that idea. So, if you want to find us online, find our other episodes, find other things that we have guested on or done, go to podchaser.com/bitstorm. All of our stuff is there. Lots of cool things happening on Podchaser soon as well. That is my site. Check it out. If you have your own podcast, make sure it's on there. Claim it. Do all the cool stuff. It's pretty rad. We're also part of the 8-Bit Collective. This is a group of podcasts, mostly about games, a few other things. We love each other. We're awesome. We help each other out. Go to 8bit.net and check out some of those other rad shows.
Have a look on Facebook for the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network. Also check out Twitter for #AGPN. Quite a few podcasts tag themselves with that network, and check all the podcasts out because they're all awesome. They're not necessarily all 8-bit, but a lot of the 8-bit podcasts check themselves in on that network as well. And finally, we'd like to thank Kuradust for the song Mount Defiance off the album Containment Failure.
Yes, indeed. So, thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
And I am firing an arrow for